stop.
Now when we get to win daily. Okay, here we are. Man, where do we start? My name's Antone Wilson. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Always had a fire and desire to attack life. My mom is an immigrant born in the Cape Verde Islands. My dad was a drill sergeant and a state trooper, and both of my parents are very passionate type A personalities. So from a young age, I was always a go-getter. Sport really defined me from the age of 6 to probably 23, 24. And that guided every single thing I did. The good, the bad, the ugly. Now, athletics kept me physically fit and disciplined. However, I didn't care about the school stuff. Long story short, the school stuff was the reason why I wasn't able to get a full Division I scholarship. So when I got to college, I just dove into the books and made sure that academics was never going to limit where I wanted to get to ever again. And I grew a passion for learning. That really accelerated my professional development, on top of the fact that I had 3 ACL injuries in college. And that really made me who I am today, because I had to go through this rigorous process of really learning how to walk again, getting the basic function where your knee swelled up to get the swelling down. Now I'm on my 2 feet. Now I can walk, now I can squat, now I can run, now I can play sport. Well, imagine going through that process 3 times. So got the game of football, which was my first love, to this day taken away from me, which really hardened me really quickly. Fortunately enough, through those college years of 20 to 24, I developed quite rapidly as a professional, doing a lot of public speaking, teaching, coaching, working in the fitness sector. So I would say that it was a blessing in disguise. Then when I got to graduate school, I found myself doing a lot of writing, balancing 3, 4 things at a time, and was burnt out by football. Had been doing it for a while and decided I wanted to do something bigger on a greater scale. And so going to graduate school and learning about business set the stage for my life and where I wanted to get to. Now that's been about a 4-year journey of understanding the way markets work, understanding what I actually do and how I can bring value to the marketplace, to where my passion of football, which ultimately transcended into being a coach, which I would say to its core is being a leader and an educator. I would say that that more or less defines me. And so I find ways to take those core elements of being a leader and an educator and try to transmute them into as many industries as possible so that I can impact as many people as I possibly can. I feel like I've lived 3 lives, to be honest with you. And so it was going through all of that which got me here now, where I could say that I'm truly walking, living my purpose every single day. I'd say that I'm truly living my purpose. And what HyperSpeed is it's my system. And it's my system for what I define as personnel management. And it's a way to evaluate teams, starting off with the scope of each individual on that team's health. We are in the infancy of this, and this is like a macro vision. And when you ask me what HyperSpeed does, it's a service more than anything else. We see so many wearable devices and a rise of remote monitoring and telemedicine, and I can get all the data in the world. But what value is that data for the average individual? They don't know what those numbers mean. And so we wanted to create a service that can tell the individual about themselves through a couple of base metrics, and then give them the guidance and the direction of how to change those numbers, and how like 2 to 3 different metrics will ultimately boost their health and the quality of their life. And it began with a company called Able. I like to say that I learned under Able's watch, where I was distributing this health and fitness app, where it's really just a tool for coaches to distribute physical fitness programs. I was just gonna be a coach that was going to sell digital programs. In 2019, that's what I was almost exclusively, where I was training college and professional athletes and training pretty high-level entrepreneurs outside of a wellness center, but I didn't know how I was gonna put them all together. So fast forward, when I found 𝐈𝐈 during the pandemic, it was like, okay, if everybody's home, how can I extend my skills into this digital world to where I can train people remote? That was step one. My passion for trying to get these programs out to the world is what got me on board with that company. And then it started going into how I can basically take 𝐈𝐈 and sell it in America and make it appealing to the average American coach who is similar to myself. However, we weren't moving the product, or there wasn't much of a demand. So fast forward, when my relationship with 𝐈𝐈 came to a close, where it was either like I'm gonna hop on the board with them almost exclusively, or I need to break ties, and if I want to use elements of that product, go ahead, but I need to do this on my own. So I would say in this time frame from January 2020 to now November 2022, I've shifted gears, and I shift our business model, burning about 15 to 20K at a certain point. Now, I generated about 25 to 30K in sales in that time frame, which, you know, to a certain degree, with having no vision, was impressive, but there were all these different loops and corners, and it wasn't until I took on a project which gave me more money, which I was able to invest in the 𝐈𝐈, invest in the partnership with BioStrap, to where I can actually have some objective products, to where I could say, like, the 𝐈𝐈, the BioStrap, our health risk assessment, and our 𝐈𝐈 programs. This is the HyperSpeed system. I like that, for sure.
Hey, look at me dead in my eyes and know that she know that a nigga ain't lying. Too much respect, all of my shorty BDs, they know that I tried. Too much respect, niggas that had CDs before they would buy. Yeah, she love me so much, it seems like she could.
Game day is the absolute, this is what we do it for. It's the opportunity to compete against another team, where it's all your preparation, seeing it stack up to where you put it on the line. You win or you lose, it's clearly defined. There's no greater opportunity you get in anything else in life than to play a game, because it's official, it goes on the record, and then that compounds, and then ultimately you get a chance to play for the glory, which is the championship. So that's the beauty of sport in and of itself, and I would say that that's the one thing that I probably will always miss most, is the opportunity to just compete. See, the thing is, with business, we don't necessarily have our game day. Now, fortunately enough, we're at a point now with HyperSpeed where we're trying to get sales. So, you know, I'm gonna have in a couple months now a whole sales force, and I'm gonna be looking for guys that played football in college, or maybe even kids that played football in high school that wanna forego college, that are 18 and they wanna make money. And I'm gonna say, this is the HyperSpeed system. These are the businesses that we wanna help. This is what it looks like. Go sell this, and now motivate them to go sell this. So you got a little bit of a dose of what it's like to be on a team, and me to rally up the troops, give words of inspiration, understand your process. However, the internal aspect of HyperSpeed, like you said, is the fact that I'm gonna be developing teams where we're actually gonna compete, and we're gonna be able to look up at the sales on the board and be like, these are the numbers, we gotta hit them. And so I think that that's gonna be quite the rush as well. So game day, we don't have game day in business from a competition, quantifiable metric of success. I went to a junior college, and that's where the athletes who didn't qualify to get a scholarship go. That set the stage for already accepting that I'm not gonna play that much. I'm probably not gonna play in the NFL, right? Then I went to another school, Salisbury University, for 4 brief months, and those months defined me because I got turf toe. This is the first time now I'm in a different state. I don't know anybody, and all I identify is as an athlete, but I'm walking around in a walking boot. Don't have an ACL injury. I can walk, I don't have to go through the surgery and all that, but I have to figure out who the hell I am. I'd already dealt with being injured. I was already established in the school. I knew how to make friends. So I was able to handle adversity a lot better and really develop socially. And then again, I blew my knee out for the second time, my senior year of college. And that was the first time I let go. I stopped following my workout regimen. I stopped being like super obsessive about eating and all these habits, and I was just partying and being a regular student for the first time. However, after that second knee surgery, I already graduated college. I had eligibility left, and I have eligibility. So I can't leave that eligibility on the table, and that's what brought me down here to Florida. Moved here to Florida. I learned a lot about the human body, finished my rehabilitation myself, got in tip-top shape, started training with NFL players, was like, I gotta give this another go. Didn't care how the outcome went. I just knew that I had to play football one more time for my own personal pride. And when I blew my knee out for the third time, I was like, hey, it was something that I wanted to do. I gave it a shot, and when it tore, I literally ripped my helmet off. I looked at the trainer, I'm like, that's all she wrote, torn, it's over, it's over. And I was actually relieved because I was ready for the next phase of my life. And so if I'm trying to get a spot, I have to prepare. I have to make sure that my mind is right. I know my plays. I know how to line up. I'm reliable. I'm healthy. Those are all vital things if I want to compete on the team. And so waking up early, making sure that I have a routine of things that I do in the morning to put me in my optimal mindset, writing down the things that I have to do and prioritizing tasks. Those are directly relatable to that preparation for sport, but then understanding that if I look at each day like it's a game, now I'm looking at the fact that like there's 4 quarters in this thing, and there's gonna be wins and losses throughout the 24 hours in the day. And so when I lose, because I'm inevitably gonna lose, or I get punched in the mouth, or like things don't go well, how am I gonna respond? You know, am I gonna down my leg and let the whole day, you know, go down the drain because one thing didn't go well at 9 a.m.? Because that negative energy, that'll follow you. And so it's like next play. And then when chaos comes, you gotta stay even keel. I wouldn't say that I'm a particularly calm person, pretty jacked up most of the time. I have a lot of energy. But understanding how to control my emotions to when adversity strikes. And so it's almost like where I flip back the other way now to where like I get ultra calm, where like I'm breaking things down to like a really practical sense of like, what do we have to do here? Okay, from here to here. Like where everything, I get very, very pragmatic in my approach. And I would say that football, you never know the way that ball's gonna spin. It's a game of inches. Every single decision that you make in life has a compound effect. And so drawing those parallels between every single day being a game day, not letting the highs get too high, the lows getting too low, and being just consistent. So certain parallels with that where I'm always trying to draw parallels as to what may happen in a football game, as to what may happen in my day, and how to just stay at the center point so that I can always think rationally to do what needs to be done. Know your time, we just did dinner for 3 hours live. Tell me all night, buying big expenses and a spite. You know, football players want to operate like warriors. They should treat them as such. I had a lot of animosity and perhaps some rage still inside of me from the way my football career turned out. Because I was undersized and not highly recruited, I was always in this state of having to prove myself, perhaps more so than I needed to. And I was trying a little harder than I needed to. And my perceived self-worth was tied to the game, and based on my performance, which was subjective to the coach that was gonna play me, it was too difficult to ever be good enough, right? And there's a lot of nepotism and, oh, well, this is the way this works. And a lot of politicking, whether it be in sport or media, where we have this vision of like, this is the way the world works, and like, you stay in your place. And so for me, I think that the denial, or like, this is the way the world works, I refused to accept that. And so it was like this, it has a negative connotation behind it, and it really pissed me off because I almost lost myself off of validation from another man as a young kid. So I almost feel like the system chewed me up and spit me out. And so I needed answers to make sure that this was never gonna happen again. If not, you know, to me, in another aspect of my life, to make sure that like these young kids, this doesn't happen to them. Or when we look at America, it's like there's nobody more powerful than the business owner or the landowner. And so it's like this pursuit of true freedom. And so for the young person that wants to do high level things, it's like you have to look at the powers that be and what's in front of you, and you have to be willing to fail and then apply yourself, that you have so many talents and you do so many things of such great value that you are absolutely undeniable. And so that is my message to young people that, you know, want to emulate me. You know, I'm a very flawed individual. I just identified what I wanted and have a fire inside of me from the way I was treated and the way some of these systems work in America that I think need to be changed. And so it's like, this can't happen anymore, because I know that there's way too many, you know, and I'll specify too, because I don't ever really like to bring race into this, but way too many young black men that get lost through like post-sport and lose a sense of self because the game sort of destroys them and their confidence, and it's hard for them to get back on their feet. And so that can't happen anymore. And so the young kid that's coming up and wants to emulate me, they probably see an element of themselves in me and with what I talk. And so you got to figure out what it is that you're trying to chase and figure out how you're going to get there, and then work relentlessly to that, and everything else will take care of itself. It's been a day in the life for me. Waking up, meditating, going on my run, drinking my smoothie. A lot of just sitting on my computer, sat on the computer for about 7.5 hours. Fortunately enough, I was still able to burn about 700 calories. I love it, really not traveling any further than 3 miles throughout the entire duration of the day, and still feels like an incredibly satisfying, productive day. I feel like I established at a really young age that I'm trying to tell a story. My whole life, everything I'm doing is I'm writing a story. Every day I'm writing pages. Every single experience. It's like, why do you do the things you do? From like the political canvassing to working at Amazon. I have the Amazon logo tattooed on me. I've done a lot of miscellaneous jobs that nobody would ever understand, because it allowed me to further understand the way the world works. And in doing so, I was able to take my experience and my perception of reality and these different failures to where it's like, I have this saying, and it's like, you must be to see, so I'm all. To where like, I don't even like to talk about race or identifying as one way, or looking at the world from like a perspective of like from me on outward, outside of like the world is what it is. It will go on without me and I'm just in it, so I'm just observing. It will increase my ability to be able to understand other people's conditions and be able to solve problems. And so through hitting rock bottom, whether it be through chasing physical endeavors, whether it be emotionally, or whether it be through like substance abuse and just like mental health issues of just kind of drowning in my sorrows, you know, things that I don't necessarily speak upon. All those things played a vital role in allowing me to understand this is the way people operate. This is the pendulum in which their emotions are on, because I have put myself in their shoes to where now I can understand exactly what I'm dealing with, take my ego out of it, and really just be a problem solver. I have failed countless times in more ways than I can count in every aspect of my life, and I truly embrace that to where I can say now I speak with, you know, pure conviction. I know exactly who I am and I have no fear of anything. I established what I'm living for and I'm gonna relentlessly attack that until I drop. Life's great. Life is great. I gotta tell you, life's great. I'm exactly where I envision myself being at this point in my life right now. And to be at a point where I still hold the cards, having dealt with what I dealt with, is really the power of human potential. And understanding that there's nothing that you can't overcome if you apply yourself and you have a reason why.